When we speak of musical instruments and the notes that they play, we often think of them as being absolutes. By this, I mean that a sound that is 440 Hz would equal that of a note we know of as A. Similarly, sounds made by an instrument are given equivalent note values, even though technically more than one frequency is present. Many of these frequencies are known as harmonics. These are related to the root frequency in that they are exact multiples of that frequency. However, most instruments, and especially those of the string family, there are also a number of other frequencies present, some of which are fixed frequencies that don't change regardless of the note being played. Meanwhile, others are caused by the process known as sympathetic resonance. These frequencies are very often referred to as formants. The chambers or body of a string instrument themselves produce these resonant sounds. It is yet another clue to the human ear when it identifies which particular type of instrument is being played. This is where Sakura's Resonator section comes into play. A total of 8 of these resonators are available, each having 3 controls. On the far right, you can find the on-off switch for that particular resonator. The main control, however, is the one in the center here, and is used to adjust the frequency of the resonating sound. And on the far left is the feedback control. To make the changes a little bit more obvious, I'm going to increase the feedback on this particular resonator to around the halfway mark. This way you can more clearly hear the effect that it has on the sound. It becomes even more obvious when you sweep the frequency range using the center control. When you are happy with a particular sound, you can then bring down the feedback until it is sitting nicely in the mix with the main sound. This allows to provide the sound more character, and it also helps it to stick out a little bit more in the mix. After applying this several times, you can build up a sound with its own individual character. One thing to note though, is that if you are going for a natural sound, it is best to keep the effects of the resonator more subtle, because it is quite easy to overdo it. And while this might not be immediately obvious in a mix, people do tend to subconsciously hear when something doesn't sound quite right. Of course, this might be the effect that you're after, in which case you can experiment with more extreme feedback and frequency settings to get something that stands out much more. This is the last chapter that deals with modeling within Sakura, and by now you should be conversant enough to work with your own sounds, or at least adjust the preset sounds to fit within any project that you need them to. In the following chapter, we will deal with the modulation capabilities of Sakura.